In 1942, the US military bet everything on a grenade designed to feel just like a baseball, trusting that muscle memory from American childhoods could win firefights against German troops. 10,000 were built by Eastman Kodak, and the weapon promised game-changing accuracy. Instead, the weapon claimed more American lives in testing than it ever did in combat. How did a symbol of the national pastime become one of history's deadliest engineering mistakes? The standard-issue Mark II grenade, known for its pineapple shape and heavy, segmented body, quickly became a source of frustration for American troops in World War II. Reports from North Africa and the Pacific described a troubling pattern: grenades falling short, missing targets, or landing harmlessly at the feet of the enemy. Soldiers struggled with the Mark II's awkward heft and unfamiliar grip, a far cry from the smooth, balanced feel of a baseball. Meanwhile, German stick grenades, with their wooden handles, sailed farther and with greater control, giving enemy troops a clear edge in the trenches and rubble of European towns. Military planners pored over after action reports, searching for answers. The problem was not just mechanical, it was cultural. In 1942, the Office of Strategic Services took a gamble rooted in American identity. Nearly every young man drafted into the Army had spent years throwing baseballs, whether on organized teams or in empty lots. By the start of the war, baseball had become more than a pastime. It was a national ritual. Surveys in the early 1940s found that over 90% of American boys played the game regularly. The logic followed: if a grenade matched the size, weight, and feel of a regulation baseball, muscle memory would take over. Soldiers would not need to relearn under pressure. They would simply throw as they always had. The idea promised a shortcut past the months of training required to build grenade proficiency. Instead of awkwardly lobbing a heavy, unfamiliar object, a soldier could wind up and deliver a throw with the same instinctive motion used since childhood. The Office of Strategic Services saw the potential for a weapon that could turn every American infantryman into a precision thrower, landing explosives exactly where they were needed, even under fire. The gap between American and German grenade performance, once a matter of engineering, now seemed solvable through culture. This leap of faith in the American pastime quickly gained traction at the highest levels. The search for a new grenade was not just about catching up to enemy technology, it was about harnessing a national skill, turning backyard games into battlefield advantage. The stage was set for a radical experiment, to build a weapon that felt as familiar as a baseball, and to trust that decades of play could be transformed into deadly accuracy. Eastman Kodak's engineers moved quickly from concept to prototype, translating baseball familiarity into hardware. Their task was to create a grenade that matched the feel of a regulation ball, a sphere 9.5 inches in circumference, weighing 12 ounces. The casing was steel, but thin enough to keep the weight close to what soldiers knew from backyard games. Inside, they placed a compact explosive charge, aiming to balance throwing distance with destructive force. The most daring feature sat at the core of the design: a mid-air arming system. Instead of the traditional pull pin and timed fuse, the T-13 used a butterfly-shaped safety cap held between two fingers, just like gripping a baseball for a knuckleball. A 3-meter nylon cord connected this cap to the grenade's internal striker. As the grenade left the thrower's hand, the cap stayed behind and the cord unwound in flight. Once fully extended, the cord pulled a secondary pin, arming the device to detonate on impact. The process was intended to be seamless: no counting, no guesswork, just throw and let the mechanism do the rest. Kodak's production lines adapted quickly, turning out approximately 10,000 units between 1942 and early 1945. Each grenade was built to exacting standards, with the arming cord carefully measured and the impact fuse installed according to the latest variant, first T5E1, then T5E2, and finally T5E3, as engineers refined the mechanism. Small initial batches shipped out to the European theater by mid-1944, with the military eager to see if the new weapon could deliver on its promise of accuracy and reach. Every detail reflected the original logic. American muscle memory transformed into a precise weapon. The expectation was clear: soldiers would throw farther, hit targets more consistently, and do so with a device that felt as natural as a baseball in the palm. The T-13's spherical body, lightweight casing, and impact fuse set it apart from anything else in the US arsenal, locking in the technical contradictions that would soon define its fate. For now, though, the focus was on the numbers, size, weight, and the hope that a familiar grip could change the odds on the battlefield. 3 distinct engineering failures defined the T-13's fate. The first was the sensitivity paradox. The impact fuse designed to detonate the instant the grenade struck a hard surface proved impossible to calibrate. Tests at Aberdeen Proving Ground revealed that even a glancing hit against concrete, brick, or tree trunks could trigger a violent explosion. On soft ground, mud, snow, or grass, the grenade often failed to go off at all. Some grenades bounced, rolled, or simply buried themselves, leaving live duds scattered across the field. Engineers cycled through 3 versions of the fuse, but the contradiction remained. Too sensitive, and the grenade endangered its user. Not sensitive enough, and it became useless against the enemy. The second flaw lay in arming distance. The nylon cord meant to keep soldiers safe measured just 3 meters. In practice, a strong throw or a close quarters toss could unwind the cord almost instantly, arming the grenade within 3 to 5 meters of the thrower. There was no way to know if the device was live until it struck something, sometimes while still within the blast radius of the person who threw it. If the cord snagged or the throw fell short, the grenade landed completely inert, adding another layer of unpredictability. The third failure was fragmentation. To mimic a baseball's weight and flight, the T-13's casing was thin and light. When it did explode, the blast produced far less shrapnel than the standard Mark II. The effective killing radius shrank dramatically, undermining the grenade's purpose as an area effect weapon. The result was a device that combined maximum risk to its user with minimal threat to the enemy, an equation no amount of engineering could resolve. Aberdeen Proving Ground became the backdrop for a tragedy no one had predicted. In the span of a year, 2 American soldiers died and 44 more were wounded, not in battle, but in the process of testing the very weapon meant to give them an edge. The T-13's impact fuse, unpredictable as a live wire, turned routine drills into life-or-death gambles. One soldier lost an arm and suffered devastating shrapnel wounds when a grenade armed itself just a few meters from his hand. Another demonstration ended with a grenade ricocheting off a wooden post, sending fragments into a group of observers. The stories spread fast through the ranks, each accident eroding trust in the weapon and those who insisted on its use. The danger did not end at the test range. Reports surfaced of grenades arming themselves in the back of transport trucks, triggered by nothing more than the vibration of the road. In at least one case, an entire crate detonated during transit, a reminder that the threat traveled wherever the Biano went. Soldiers in Europe, hearing rumors of these accidents, quietly discarded their issued grenades or refused to carry them at all. Some units made their own decisions, choosing the familiar risks of the Mark II over the uncertainty of the T-13. By early 1945, the Army had seen enough. An official recall order went out. All Biano grenades were to be collected and destroyed without delay. Production at Eastman Kodak stopped. Most of the 10,000 units built were systematically demolished. Records were sealed, casualty numbers blurred, and the project's existence nearly erased from official memory. Not a single confirmed German casualty could be traced to the T-13. The weapon that promised precision delivered only loss, leaving behind a legacy measured in American blood and vanished files. Today, militaries still chase innovation, but the Biano T-13 remains a stark warning. Culture and confidence never outweigh design and safety. Every new weapon must answer for its risks, because when engineering fails, lives are the final cost. The lesson is simple: reliability always matters more than novelty.